Final update, my dad was so focused on becoming the perfect father to my stepsister, that he accidentally left me at the mall in another state, and went back home with her. I thought I was just another casualty of a messy divorce. However, one story my mom posted on Snapchat revealed something I didn't expect. A few weeks have passed, and my life has been one hell of a ride. My emotions have been running sky high and really low, and honestly, I'm just hoping for the best. Everything's been going well with my mom and me, we're getting to know each other, and it's been amazing. I've always been a daddy's girl, so I hardly ever spent time with Ma while she was around, but now I'm wishing that I had spent more time with her. I even got to meet her boyfriend, Drake. He's a cool dude. I was on my way to see Grandma, who I finally confronted. She then asked if we could meet in person so she could explain her actions. We met at a small cafe, and she gave me the biggest hug. She told me how much she had missed me, how much I had grown, and the amount of love she was giving me was surprising because of all the negative comments my father had made about her. But, well, my grandmother exposed everything, and that meeting showed me how much of a liar my father was. My grandmother explained that she never wanted to cut contact with me but just couldn't stand my stepmom and her daughters. She felt they were leeches and opportunists, something my father was clearly blind to. She also mentioned that Jenna had worked as my father's PA, something I was never told about, and it all made sense now. She also told me that when she mentioned she and the family weren't fond of Jenna, he cut them off but still kept them on social media. This was refreshing to hear because my father had made it seem like it was my fault he no longer saw his family. He blamed everything on my mom and me and would constantly remind me that my mother was the reason his family no longer wanted me around. When I brought this up to my mother, she explained that the reason she even filed for divorce was because of how obsessed my father was with impressing his family. He would put her in compromising, uncomfortable situations just to impress and gain his family's favor. She explained that the reason my father had asked for sole custody of me was that he wanted to look like the perfect dad and parent to his family instead of trying to create a healthy co-parenting relationship. Well, this broke my heart because all of this could have just been avoided, but everything is making sense now. Yeah, it explains why my father was so obsessed with being the perfect father to my stepsisters. It was because he wanted to look like a hero who had taken in kids with no dad. I've always known my father's reputation meant so much to him, but not to this extent. So, I devised a little plan with my mother and grandma. We were going to expose my father for the monster he actually was, and we were going to do that by destroying the one thing he truly loved, his reputation. Do you guys think I'm taking this plan of retaliation too far? Should I just let it go and continue living with my mother? I feel like he needs a taste of his own medicine, but let me know what you guys think. Update: a long week has passed since I met up with my grandmother, and I was actually starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I've been staying with my mom for over a month, and because my father had no idea where she lived, he could not get access to me. My mother, Drake, and I were on our way to my grandmother's house. She was hosting a barbecue, and the whole family would be there, including my father and stepfamily. This was all part of the plan. My father had absolutely no clue we were going to go. We arrived and found everybody just outside. My grandma waved at us, and my father's face turned ghostly white. He'd been bragging about what an amazing father he was to a few of his family members, and I then found out that he had told everyone I was sick with the flu, which was why I couldn't come with him to the function. My grandmother then asked my father, "Well, why are you lying?" My father couldn't even utter a word, so I decided to talk for him. I exposed him. I told everyone that my father was nothing more than a liar. He abandoned me. My stepmother immediately intervened, called me such a little liar, and then said the reason I was with my mom was because I had run away from home. My mother took out her phone and showed everyone the text messages from the day of the incident. One of my father's cousins gasped in shock and asked him, "How could you have done this, leaving her in a whole different state?" My grandmother shook her head in disappointment and told my father she was so sick of this, disgusted by his actions. My father tried to explain, but nobody was trying to listen. My great-aunt looked at my dad and told him he's a disgrace to this family. Well, this sent my stepmother over the edge, and she snatched my mother's phone out of her hand, smashing it onto the floor into a million pieces. She started calling me and my mother all kinds of names, but the one that made my mother flip out was when she called me, well, a fatherless child. My mother immediately slapped her and then asked my father why he wasn't defending me. Instead of defending me, my father decided to confess to one of his wrongdoings. He clarified that the reason he had left me at the mall was because my stepmother had started a fight with him about me and it forced him to take them back home. He said that my stepmom had threatened to leave him and that he couldn't afford another divorce because he was already ashamed and embarrassed about his divorce with my mother. However, my grandma did not fall for his little tactic. She told him that she had warned him about my stepmother, but he didn't listen. Everybody was now looking at my father with disappointment on their faces, and I could tell he couldn't stand it. He started blaming me for everything, falsely accusing me of being nothing more than a rebellious teenager. My mother could not take my father's lies a second longer, so she decided to drop the biggest bombshell ever. She told my father that she had filed for sole custody of me. My stepmother cheered joyfully at the news, but my father fell to his knees and started begging my mother not to take me away from him. He knew that if she took me away, his perfect father reputation would be entirely tarnished. He then got up and started shouting at my stepmom, blaming her straight up for ruining his relationship and his family, saying that if it weren't for her, he would still be close to them. As my stepmom was about to defend herself, my father just stormed off. She froze for a few moments and then tried to chase after him, but by the time she even got to him, he had already driven down the street. Did I take things too far? I mean, all I did was expose my father's lies. It's not like I lied about his actions or anything, right? 5 months later, since the barbecue and the retaliation, a lot has gone down, and it's taken me a while to get used to it all. I was slowly starting to adjust to everything and actually felt more at peace with everything that happened. I was officially living with my mother full-time. She decided it would be best for everything to go through the court, and it actually worked in her favor. Once the judge heard that my father had abandoned me at the mall, she sided with my mother and granted her primary custody. We're still learning about each other, and it feels good to be in a home where there's no toxicity. Drake is even a great stepdad, and I'm grateful my mother found someone who puts her first. Also, I'm super excited because I'm going to be an older sister soon. My mother and Drake are expecting my little sister. On the other hand, my father is going through a nasty divorce with Jenna. She was trying to get her hands on half of his estate, and apparently, she's drowning in legal fees. I have to admit, my father was smart for marrying her out of the community of property, meaning she wasn't entitled to anything. But because she quit her job and became a housewife, she was sort of entitled to something. But here's the kicker, my father was telling everyone they were divorcing because she cheated. It was a lie. Jenna was a lot of things, but she was not a cheater. I believe he started this rumor just to save his reputation because he was embarrassed about getting another divorce in less than 5 years. Unfortunately, none of his family wanted anything to do with him because of how poorly he treated me while married to Jenna. They said that eventually, they would forgive him, but for now, he wasn't even allowed at family events.